up everyone! So today's movie I'm discussing on the channel is the new Bob Dylan biopic from director James Mangold called A Complete Unknown, which stars Timothée Chalamet as the world-renowned singer/songwriter. The film starts in 1961 when a young Bob heads to New York City with only $10 in his pocket, a notebook full of songs, and a guitar strapped to his back. He's come all the way to New York City to sing a song for one of his heroes, the folk singer Woody Guthrie, who is now dying from Huntington's. His song for Woody captures the attention of civil rights activist and banjo-playing Pete Seeger, playing this film by Edward Norton. And it's not long before Bob is playing the underground circuit in New York City, meeting other musicians like the Queen of Folk, Joan Baez, playing this film by Barbaro. And Bob soon becomes the hot young face of folk music. But as time marches forward, Bob doesn't want to be pigeonholed as just a folk singer, so he branches out from acoustic songs to electrified rock songs. And all this culminates at the 1965 Newport Folk Festival, but was the world ready for this new Bob Dylan? And that's pretty much all the plot you need to know. Admittedly, I'm not a big Bob Dylan fan. I think I recognized maybe 2 of his songs in this movie, Blowing in the Wind and Like a Rolling Stone. But yeah, I couldn't tell you any of his other songs. I know who he is, but he's a musician I've never gravitated towards. But I was on board for A Complete Unknown because of James Mangold directing and the talent that was on board. Okay, I'm always down for some Timmy Tim. James Mangold has had some experience in the musician biopic department before. Okay, he directed Walk the Line. That was the Johnny Cash biopic, and funnily enough, Johnny Cash does also show up in A Complete Unknown as well, only not played by Joaquin Phoenix, obviously. In this film, he's played by Boyd Holbrook. Walk the Line was pretty well received. It even bagged a Best Actress Oscar for Reese Witherspoon. I saw it, I didn't mind it. It's not my favorite James Mangold movie. I much prefer Logan. But I knew going into this film that we were going to be in reliable hands with James Mangold. And I'll say this about A Complete Unknown. For a biopic about a celebrity, it does have a real slice of life feel to it, this film. The cinematography by Phaedon Papamichael is very unassuming, very true to real life, but with a slight rustic feel to it. Normally with these biopics, there's a lot of razzle-dazzle, a lot of showmanship, but that's not really who Bob Dylan was, or is, I should say. He's not dead. He kept it rather simple in the early days, okay? He was just a man with a guitar. As a performer, he was quite stripped back, which is reflected in Mangold's execution of this film. And Mangold avoids the temptation to glamorize Bob Dylan's rise to fame. The craziest thing that happens to him in this film is like being chased down the street by some fans in New York, but that's about it. To this day, Bob Dylan is still a bit of a mysterious figure, so Mangold's lack of flash really does suit the subject matter. But herein lies the issue that I had with this film. Because Mangold succeeds in capturing the aloof sensibilities of Dylan himself, this film kind of left me at a distance while I was watching it. I wanted to care more about him and those that were closest to him, but because he's kind of an asshole, it was hard for me to feel close to him as a character. And this isn't a disservice of Chalamet's performance. I actually think he did an excellent job of portraying him. He captures the essence of Bob Dylan without coming across as a mimic. Plus, Chalamet's technical skills in this film are incredible. This film was delayed by 5 years because of COVID and the industry strikes, so Chalamet actually had all this extra time while shooting other movies like Dune and Wonka to learn how to become proficient in guitar and playing the harmonica, and also sounding and singing like Bob Dylan. It's another fantastic notch in Timothée Chalamet's belt. But whilst Timothée Chalamet's performance is great, I didn't feel as emotionally invested in him as I would have liked to. Everyone else in this has done a good job. Edward Norton, Elle Fanning, Monica Barbaro. The film itself is competently shot, and I was glad that the film didn't come across as a cliched, glossy biopic, okay? It actually does have some heart, this film. So while I did appreciate that it's not a cliched, generic biopic, it is sadly a film where I'm finding myself appreciating it more than actually enjoying it. Alright then, shall we talk about its Oscars chances? I'm quite interested to see how others respond to this film. I think mostly it will be liked because it's not a generic biopic. It tells a very human story about someone who kind of became accidentally crazy famous. But the fact that Searchlight bumped this film's release date up to Christmas makes me feel they're pretty confident about it. But I'm not sure if this film's gonna have enough time to catch fire. The screening that I was at, the response afterwards was good, but it wasn't rapturous. It's not really a film that gets people excited to talk about it. I don't think it's going to be a huge player at the Oscars, but I could see it getting some nominations for its performances. This really is a performance piece for Timothée Chalamet. I would say that Chalamet is a pretty secure prediction for for a Best Actor nomination because this is a role that the Academy do like to acknowledge with a nomination. He's really nailed his portrayal of Bob Dylan, from the physicality with slightly hunched posture, the way he walks down the street, the way he holds a cigarette, to the cadence in his speech patterns. Apparently Chalamet used the same vocal coach that Austin Butler used for Elvis. And then there's all the technical stuff that Chalamet had to master, like becoming proficient at playing guitar and the harmonica, and also singing like Bob Dylan. And Chalamet does all of his own singing in this film. Okay, there is a lot to praise about this performance of his. Plus, it's been 7 years since Timothee's first and only Oscar nomination after he exploded onto the scene with his performance in Call Me By Your Name, and since then he's done so much great work and has been overlooked, so it feels like it's time for his second nomination. And this performance ticks so many boxes, so I do think he's going to get into Best Actor. As for the other performances in this, I would say between Monica Barbaro and Elle Fanning, Monica Barbaro would probably have a better chance of getting nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Like Chalamet, she had to learn guitar for this role, and her singing in this is pitch perfect. She has a little bit more to work with than Elle Fanning does, although Elle Fanning does get one lovely goodbye scene towards the end of the film. But honestly, I don't really see either of them showing up in Supporting Actress. Maybe one of them might, but I don't feel confident about it. Really, it's Chalamet's performance that people are going to be talking about with this film. I guess Edward Norton could show up in Best Supporting Actor. He's doing quite a lot with his few scenes, okay? There's the banjo, there's the accent. He also gets this beautiful little speech about teaspoons for justice, for peace, and for love. It doesn't really sound like much when I say it, but it is quite a commanding call to action. But yeah, apart from Timothée Chalamet for Best Actor, all the other performances in this seem to be like on the outside looking in for a nomination. Like, they're on the cusp, but I don't have confidence in them getting in. And it's kind of the same with the other categories that this film could be nominated for. Like, I could see it getting into Best Adapted Screenplay, and I could see it getting into Best Picture, but my gut is telling me it's not going to happen. It might, but my gut is saying don't do it. James Mangold's not going to get in for directing. Okay, this film's best shot of a nomination is Timothée Chalamet for Best Actor, but it could show up in a few other categories. I'm just not confident about it. Yeah, that's my thoughts on A Complete Unknown's Oscars chances. How many Oscar noms do you guys think it's going to get? Let me know in the comment section down below. All right then, let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? A Complete Unknown is the type of film that was enjoyable enough to watch once, but I don't really feel the need to ever watch this film again. There's not a lot here other than Timothée Chalamet's performance to make me want to come back for a second viewing, so probably not now. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? I softly recommend this film. As far as biopics about musicians go, okay, this is a sturdy, solid piece of filmmaking which avoids the sensationalism of other films in the genre. The performances are excellent, okay? It's well shot, but I will say it's kind of unremarkable, okay? I didn't leave this film feeling wowed. But yeah, if you're a fan of Timothée Chalamet, I will say it is worth watching for his performance. It's out in cinemas on Christmas Day. And third question, what score to give out of 10? A Complete Unknown is one of those films, kind of like The Bike Riders, where there's nothing objectively bad about it. Like, you can tell it's well made, like there was a lot of care and passion put into it, the acting's good, but for whatever reason, it just didn't blow me away, this film. Like, it's one of those films that you respect, but you're just not amazed by. It's the, I like it, but I'm not in love with it feeling. So for me, it was fine, not great. So I'm gonna give A Complete Unknown a score of 6 out of 10. But as always, guys, it is just one bloke's opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts on A Complete Unknown. What do you make of this film? What do you think of Timmy's performance? Is he coming for an Oscar nom? What you have to say, do let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. If you guys have enjoyed this video, do help support my channel by hitting the little thumbs up button. If you want more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to like, subscribe, help me get to my end of year goal of 10,000 subscribers. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time.